It's Monday, which means another show of Run It Back. I'm your host, Mia Ramirez, and we are jumping right into it today. It's been a busy weekend in the sports world with the NFL season wrapping up with the beloved Super Bowl and the Winter Olympics kicking off. We have all the updates today, but we'll start first in the KU world with, of course, basketball, volleyball, and a feature. All right now on Run It Back. Basketball has been having what some might call a slam dunk of a season. With March Madness creeping around the corner, the courts are firing up. Luke is here with what went down this weekend. If you're wondering why you're not seeing some of your favorite players on the roster for this coming season, Landon has the answers as he looks into the transfer portal. Soccer season may be over, but that doesn't stop us from talking about it. And I'm hitting us with the KU Soccer Spotlight on this season's off-season. Finally, after Women in Sports Day last week, first, let's appreciate all our women who helped make this show happen. And next, let's appreciate our Lady Jayhawks, who are dominating the courts in basketball. That's right, Gabby is taking us to women's basketball. First, we're dribbling the show to Luke with men's.
Thank you, Mia. Last Saturday, the Jayhawks took on Utah inside Allen Fieldhouse. KU looked to keep things rolling as they entered with a 6-game winning streak. Before the game started, fans were calling it a trap game. When someone calls it a trap game, that usually means the team they are playing has a bad record and you should beat them with ease. For Utah, they absolutely fall into the trap game category as they are 9-14 overall and 1-9 in Big 12 play. The story of the game for KU was their depth, as the main scoring option in Darren Peterson struggled to really get going for the Jayhawks as he managed only to score 14 points on 5 for 12 shooting. While DP struggled, Flory Badunga flourished. Badunga was the MVP for KU as he had a monster game both on the offensive and defensive side. Flory tallied a double-double with 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 blocks. With his defensive effort, he helped propel the Jayhawks to a win. Another big piece in this one was Trey White as he had a solid game with 16 points on 7 for 15 shooting. His offense was crucial in a game which the Jayhawks struggled to get points on the board. While KU didn't fall into the trap of a trap game and lose, they showed us they're still a team who's learning and growing together. Overall, they struggled on Saturday. However, they managed to pull out a 71-59 win, and that's all that matters. Tonight, KU takes on the number 1 ranked team in the country in Arizona. Here's what Kansas Jayhawks head coach Bill Self had to say about tonight's matchup.
Monday is the most fun game that we would have had so far this year. And hopefully there's much bigger games later on than this game. So, but to date, it'll be the biggest. They're men, you know. They dominate people 12 foot and in. We got to play, you know, bigger. We got to play tougher. We got to play stronger. We got to play smarter. And then they guard, and so we got to give them something to defend on the other end. But it'll be a fun game. It'll be a fun atmosphere.
The Wildcats will come into the Fieldhouse 23-0 and having destroyed just about every opponent who stood in their way. KU is going to have an opportunity to do something they've never done, which is beat a number 1 ranked team inside Allen Fieldhouse. While they look to drop that record from their resume, Bill Self looks to keep his 38-0 undefeated record on Big Monday alive. Make sure to show up and be loud tonight at the Fieldhouse. That's all for me. Now I'm going to set it up for Landon as he talks about KU volleyball and the transfer portal.
Well, Luke, as much as the KU basketball team is heating up, it's felt like the lights have gone out on the KU volleyball team. The Jayhawks have lost 6 players to the transfer portal, all being headlined by freshman Jovana Zelenovic. The first team All-Big 12 selection transferred to Miami, which was actually the team who the Jayhawks beat in the round of 16 last December in the tournament. Along with her, KU also lost their top setter, Katie Dalton, to the Creighton Blue Jays. Dalton, who was a second-team All-Big 12 selection with 1 year left of eligibility as a post-grad. But Dalton isn't the only Jayhawk leaving for post-grad. Rotational players Ellie Schneider and Molly McCarthy hit the portal and land respectively at Rice and TCU. Wow, Landon, that's a lot of losses. Surely that's all of them, right? Nope, unfortunately not. KU has also lost freshman Aurora Papich to Arizona State and freshman Selena LeBond to the Florida Gators. And we're also looking to the coaching side of things as KU assistant coach and offensive coordinator Matt Worley was recently named head coach of UCLA's volleyball program. A huge loss for the Jayhawks, but a huge achievement for Coach Worley. We wish him all the best. Now that we've gone over all of our unfortunate losses, we can now move on to our new additions to be seen at the Horse next semester. We have only one portal addition, unfortunately, but don't let that take away from the fact that we got a dog, Olivia Hasbrook, a libero originally at Ohio State, who ranks top 10 in digs per set in the Big Ten last season. She will look to replace senior Ryan White, the team captain who played a huge leadership role in her sole season with the Hawks. I'm super excited to see with so many portal losses, who's going to be the one to step up and make an impact next season. Speaking of making an impact, Mia takes to the pitch to spotlight one of KU's rising freshmen. How's it going, Mia?
Thanks, Landon, for the portal update. KU women's soccer season might be over, but they're still working countless hours in the off-season. It's time to kick off to a women's soccer spotlight with freshman Sophia Muir.
I'm Sophia Muir. I'm a freshman at KU and I play midfield.
What's the story behind why you started playing soccer?
I started playing soccer because of my sister, Gianna. I just followed in her footsteps. Every sport she played, I started playing, and the only sport she continued playing was soccer, and then I found love in it as well, so I stayed with it.
Why did you want to play soccer in college?
Soccer in college didn't really feel like not an option for me. I mean, as I got older, high school, I always knew that this is the goal I wanted, where I was heading towards, so it was always going to be my next step.
What's it like being a D1 student athlete, and what keeps you motivated?
Being a D1 student athlete, it's got its perks, but it's also it's hard. You have to work every day. You're not just gonna get everything that comes to you. I would say what keeps me most motivated would be my family, myself, my goals for my future. I've always wanted to play college soccer, so getting out here every day, it's something I love to do. So that keeps me motivated in itself.
Who's had the most influence on your time here as a KU soccer player?
Ooh, I would say my coaches altogether, but I would honestly say the seniors that have been here. They've been here, some of them 4 years, some of them 1 year, but they all have been so welcoming and amazing at the sport itself. Watching them makes me so excited for what my years to come look like.
What are some of your personal main goals for the next upcoming season?
My personal and main goal is just to get more minutes, play more, be more of a impactor on my team.
What's one thing KU fans might not realize about KU women's soccer?
I would say the biggest thing that people don't realize is how hard we work. We see everyone sees the games and the score at the end, but what we're doing not during the game. When we go to practice, when we go to film, we go to weights, all of us work extremely hard for what we do, and it's you don't see the behind the scenes, but we all work so hard for what we have.
I loved getting to sit down with Sophia and talk deeper about her love for the game and this team. I cannot wait to watch her perform next season. Now, let's get to the court for some women's basketball with Gabby.
Thanks, Mia. What a week it was for the women's basketball team. The ladies are coming off 2 huge back-to-back wins against BYU and Cincinnati. Wednesday night's game was extra special, marking National Girls and Women in Sports Day. With a big game on the line, the Hawks absolutely dominated BYU. 5-time Big 12 Freshman of the Week, Julia Davis hit her first double-double in points and assists as a Jayhawk. Elle Evans added energy on both sides, hitting 2 threes and a season high of 4 assists. Samaya Nichols was a great help, finishing with 17 points. Lily Meister closed out the third, adding 5 points and a tip-in at buzzer. The energy in Allen Fieldhouse only grew as Kansas finished with a 21-point win, 81-60 over BYU. Then came Saturday's game against the Bearcats. Julia Davis again hit double digits with 28 points. Cincinnati put the first points up early in the game, but that didn't stop Kansas from staying close behind in the first period. With the help of Samaya Nichols and Julia Davis, they pushed the Kansas lead at half to 40-36. Looking into the second half, Cincinnati brought great plays, but after 2 timeouts, the Bearcats gave up an 11-point run as the Hawks took the lead into the final period. Within the final minutes of the game, Davis again puts up a great layup to take the 80-71 win over the Bearcats. Action continues tomorrow night as they take on Texas Tech in Lubbock, so be sure to catch all the coverage on ESPN Plus at 6 p.m. This looks like it's all the time I have left, so stay tuned for more sports on Run It Back after the break.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
The 2026 Olympics kicked off last week. We're hoping USA can bring home some gold. Sam is taking us to Milan to look at how it's gone so far. Then the NBA trade deadline has been the thought on many fans' minds, and it just came to a close. Jimmy is looking at where players will be headed next season. Finally, we wouldn't be Run It Back without a little football talk. Patrick is headed to the field, and more specifically, the Super Bowl, after an eventful Sunday night. First, Sam has who earned some Olympic medals so far.
The 2026 Winter Olympics in Milano and Cortina are rolling. This is the fourth time Italy has hosted the Olympics, and Cortina is providing some stunning shots as a uniquely isolated venue in the Dolomites. Cortina also hosted the 1956 Games, the first in Italy. The opening ceremony, which Alex will have more on later in the show, was on Friday. A few disciplines even began before those festivities, including women's hockey. This is the 8th women's tournament. Only the U.S. with 2 and Canada with 5 have won gold. The U.S. has lost 8 games all time. 7 of those 8 losses were to Canada, and Canada has only lost 3 games since '98, all 3 to the U.S. If you're catching on, those are the 2 nations to watch on the women's side. And there are 2 groups on the women's side, and the Americans dispatched both Czechia and Finland 5-1 and 5-0. They are currently on the ice up against Switzerland, and tomorrow their final group stage match is against Canada. Men's matches, meanwhile, start Wednesday, and the return of NHL players is cosmic. Scheduling concerns and a pandemic barred the world's best from joining in 2018 and 2022. The Panthers, Wild, and Lightning sent the most Olympians, 9 each, and the Wild the most American Olympians with 3. Each of the 32 teams has at least 1 representative, and this year we will get to see them play here. Most matches, including the men's and women's gold medal matches, are held at the Milano Santa Giulia. Some group stage matches at the Milano Row Arena, which is on the opposite side of the city to the northwest. The primary arena, though, was in the headlines for the wrong reasons in the build-up. Construction delays, unfinished interior aspects, and ice quality were all talking points across the media. Ground was meant to be broken on the arena in 2022, got delayed by a year, and fast forward to today, and the BBC reported seeing posters still needed hanging, merchandise stalls that were still being built. Just 3 hours before the opening women's match on the 5th, they described the arena as finished in a hurry without much spit and polish. Although there were major doubts about getting this thing to happen, it is in fact all a go, and here are the 3 men's groups. All 12 of these teams will advance to the single elimination playoff rounds, but the 3 group winners and best second place team receive a bye to the quarterfinals. Canada, the US, and Sweden are favorites to top those groups, and here are the odds for everyone. A large gap to Canada and the United States, but Sweden certainly rounds out a big 3, and the hosts are maybe not the safest bet to win or medal. The U.S. road to glory will begin with Latvia on Thursday, then Denmark and Germany back-to-back over the weekend before hopefully skipping the qualification playoff next Tuesday. Let's take a glance at the all-time medal count for men's hockey. Canada is hunting a 10th gold this year, having been crowned 12 years ago in Sochi when NHL players were last active. The U.S. came 4th that year, losing bronze to Finland, and haven't struck gold since 1980 when Al Michaels called the miracle on ice. Don't believe the Soviets can widen that gap, though. And then Russia really do clutter that list, don't they? 5 variations up there. To follow it all, watch on NBC and Peacock. Gold Zone, which debuted in 2024, is back, presenting narrated live whip-around coverage of key events as they unfold. Would also recommend downloading the Olympics app. Meanwhile, the ESPN app has made following the NBA trade deadline a lot easier this month, but with so much movement, here's Jimmy to provide an in-depth look at all the moves and implications. Jimmy?
Thanks, Sam. The deadline just passed, and it completely shook up the league. Contenders made swings, franchises reset their futures, and fans glued their eyes, refreshing Twitter every 5 seconds. Let's start with the headline move. Darius Garland traded from the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for James Harden. When that notification dropped, it felt unreal. Garland has been one of the young cornerstones in Cleveland's rebuild, an all-star guard, an elite shot creator, and someone who helped bring them back into the playoff relevancy. But clearly, Cleveland felt like they needed to move in a different direction. Enter James Harden, former MVP, one of the most gifted offensive players of this generation. Even at this stage of his career, Harden brings elite playmaking and scoring ability. The Cavs are betting that his experience and ability to control the tempo can push them deeper into the postseason. But on the flip side, Garland, heading into LA, might be just as big. The Clippers get younger, faster, and more dynamic in the backcourt. Garland's ability to score at all three levels and operate in the pick-and-roll sense could unlock a whole new dimension for that offense. It signals a shift. LA is thinking long-term flexibility while still staying competitive. Then there's Anthony Davis. After one season with the Dallas Mavericks, AD is on the move, this time to the Washington Wizards, and that caught everyone off guard. Dallas made a huge investment bringing him in, expecting him to be the defensive anchor next to Kyrie and Cooper. But after 1 year, they pivot. Whether it was fit, injuries, or a bigger plan brewing behind the scenes, we'll find out soon. For Washington, though, this is massive. The Wizards haven't had a true superstar centerpiece in years. Anthony Davis, when healthy, is still one of the most dominant two-way players in the league. He changes your defense instantly. He changes your expectations instantly. The real question is whether he becomes the foundation of a rebuild or if this is a short-term splash. And of course, the storyline that dominated headlines for weeks, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Every rumor, every insider, every hint, every podcast was talking about it. Would Milwaukee move on for him? Where were they going to reset? Was this a blockbuster coming? And then nothing, no deal, no lasting chaos. Giannis stays in Milwaukee, and honestly, that might say more about any trade that happened. The Bucks are choosing to ride it out. They're betting on their core. It's been said by many that the Bucks did not like any offers that were set by any teams. The teams that were most interested were the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Miami Heat. But unfortunately, no trade fell through. This trade deadline wasn't just about player movement, it was about direction. Cleveland is trying to win now. The Clippers are reshaping their identity. Washington is searching for relevance. Dallas is recalculating. And Milwaukee is standing firm. The second half of the season just got a whole lot more interesting. Playoff matchups look different. Title odds just shifted. And pressure is officially on. The NBA never disappoints at the deadline, and this year was no exception. Now let's move it over to Patrick for a Super Bowl recap.
Thank you, Jimmy. You know I had to come back for one last NFL recap, and what better game than Super Bowl 60 itself. The Seahawks and Patriots met in San Francisco Bay, where Seattle opened up as 4-point favorites to get revenge at 12 years after the infamous goal line interception, and they most definitely did. It was a quiet first half, but two things were consistent. The Seahawks defense and Kenneth Walker, who broke off two 30-yard runs right before Seattle's second field goal of the game. And if you remember last week's roundtable with Xander and Jimmy, I said the Seahawks would win and Kenneth Walker would be the first running back to win Super Bowl MVP since 1998. What can I say? Drake May could not do anything in the first half, and Jason Myers added a third field goal before halftime to put the Seahawks up 9-0. While the Patriots were making halftime adjustments, you know I have to talk about the real talk of the town, Bad Bunny. I don't care if I can't understand the words or sing along. The vibes were immaculate, and it sent a great message. I mean, that couple literally got married during the show. Kudos to you, Bad Bunny. Jason Myers opened the second half with yet another field goal, and the Patriots needed an answer. I have to give Drake May some leash. He was under so much pressure and got sacked 7 times. But missed throws like this one to Pop Douglas were the reason they lost the game last night. Finally, to start off the fourth quarter, we got our first touchdown of the game. A.J. Barner gets free, and Sam Darnold finds him. An eerily similar play to the first quarter where Sam Darnold overthrew the Emerald City route artist. Patriots quickly responded with a Mac Hollins deep ball in the end zone. Looks like that pregame Hannibal Lecter outfit paid off in the end. It was really only a matter of time before all the pressure caught up to Drake May. And Nwosu scoops up this pick and takes it all the way home to put the nail in the coffin. Super Bowl 60 ends with a score of 29-13, and it was all just too little too late. Kenneth Walker takes home Super Bowl MVP with 160 yards, and in the words of Marshawn Lynch, nothing tastes better than getting your lick back. We'll be right back after this short break with more Run It Back.
KU supports community, creativity, Kansas. The University of Kansas provides statewide medical outreach, first responder training, cybersecurity protection, childhood development support, and economic gains amounting to over $7 billion every year. Every day, Kansas Jayhawks serve the world by creating a better future. The world is safer, healthier, stronger because of what KU creates.
Olympics is a hot topic right now, and with that, so is the opening ceremony. In case you missed this year's, Alex is taking a look at it. It feels like the MLB season just ended, but it's truly a year-round type of thing. The World Baseball Classic is coming up. Zach and Mike and Landon are giving us a preview. As a lifelong Chiefs fan, this football season has been disappointing, but seeing the Patriots lose made up for a little bit of it. With the Super Bowl last night, after the Seahawks and Patriots won, all that being said, last week we got some predictions from our students, so we'll see if they guessed right as we head to our man on the street.
The Olympic opening ceremony took place last Friday in Milan, and some University of Kansas students were lucky enough to attend it in person. The students are studying abroad in Rome this semester and made the trip north to experience the start of the Winter Games firsthand.
For each of the countries, like the people who would cheer around this, I feel like I've never been surrounded by that many people from all different places. Like, it was cool that, like, I don't know, everyone was there. It wasn't just like one country there to support.
From the Parade of Nations to the performances inside the stadium, the ceremony brought together fans from around the world, including these Jayhawks far from Lawrence.
I feel like I really liked all the performances because they had like meanings behind like everything. And so the first performance was like all the primary colors like mixing, and then yeah, they had like cool like fake like paint things that came down from the top of the stadium, and like as they poured out the primary colors, like more dancers came in that were like colors that would be created by primary colors to show like the unison of like all the countries mixing and like bringing about like friendships within.
The students say attending the ceremony added a new perspective to their time abroad, showing them a side of international culture and sports that they've never seen before.
I literally knew nothing, and so it was fun, just like everything was a surprise. All I knew was like the lighting the torch.
As the games continue this week, Jayhawks and Lawrence will be watching from home, and RunitBack will be here to keep you up to date on all the Olympic action.
With the World Baseball Classic coming up in just over a month, we thought now is a better time than ever to go over some of the team's rosters and potential game-changing players and matchups. I'm Michael Tomasco. Joined beside me is Landon Jones and Zach O'Brien. And the first roster move that I think caught all of our eyes was Mike Trout, former Team USA captain, was absent from Team USA's roster. Zach, why is he not on the roster?
You see, him not being on the roster, for me, it's completely understandable. He's been plagued by injuries for the last 5-6 years of his career. But for me, the one thing that I'm just sad that we aren't going to get to see in this year's World Baseball Classic is him carrying that flag out in the finals, which the last time it had so much aura.
Well, Landon, we looked at Team USA's roster. We've got Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. Tell us, how are they going to impact this year's team?
I think they're going to bring in like a youthful energy to the team. You have Aaron Judge's dynamic power. He can swing for the fences. He's going to be your long ball guy. And then you've got Bobby Witt, who is great on the field and great at the plate. I mean, he batted with almost a 300 with over a 300 average last year and was a great fielder, Gold Glover nonetheless. So I think it's going to be a great mix of both.
And he's fast too. Those stolen bases could really make the difference. Now, looking over at Venezuela, we've got Ronald Acuna Jr., the right fielder from the Braves. Tell me, how is he going to impact? He's got 98 hits and 21 home runs last season. Zach, what are you seeing out of him this year?
As a Braves fan, this is the best player on Venezuela's roster. He is going to kill it out there. As we all know, he can hit the long ball extremely well, and out in right field, he's a wall out there. Nothing's getting past him. He's a dog. Venezuela's got a great one.
Now, looking over at Venezuela as well, we have Salvador Perez, the catcher from the Kansas City Royals. He's 35 years old. He's getting there, but he had an amazing batting year last year. He had 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. How's he going to impact this team as well?
I mean, he's been a leader for Venezuela every single time that they've been playing in the World Baseball Classic. He's been doing this for so long. He truly is the foundation of that team. And I think you're going to see his power. And you bring up the age, but he still can make plays behind
100%.
the dish. So you have to give him the credit where it's due.
Now looking over at the Dominican Republic, we've got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He had 23 home runs last year. Zach, what are you seeing out of him?
I think he's just going to come in hot especially after his performance in the American Conference Championship and in the World Series too. I just think he's going to come into this extremely hot. His bat is hot. His fielding's hot. is going to be a great.
100%. Now looking at Japan, we've got Shohei Ohtani, the man on everyone's mind, absolutely stole the league last year. Now, what I am wondering is how is he going to balance pitching and batting coming into the World Baseball Classic?
So it turns out he will actually not be pitching in this World Baseball Classic. He will mainly be batting. And so I think that's a big thing to focus on. But what's luckily for Japan is they have such great depth at pitching with Yoshinobu Yamamoto as well as Yusei Kikuchi. You've got a bunch of guys that can go out and make plays and that are great on the mound. It's going to be tough for teams to compete with that.
100%. Now the last player on our radar is from Puerto Rico, Nolan Arenado, who was formerly on the Team USA team, but he switched to Puerto Rico. Zach, what are you thinking about that move?
I think it's a little weird, but to be honest, it's a little fair because there's already so many studs on USA's roster that it's just kind of like, for him, it's probably a better idea to go to Puerto Rico because
100%.
he wouldn't be starting on this
Balancing
USA
things
roster.
out a little bit, for sure. Well, we sure cannot wait for this upcoming World Baseball Classic. Now we have Mia, Jameson, and Alex with a Man on the Street segment taking some Super Bowl predictions.
Hey guys, today we're back on Wesco Beach with another Man on the Street.
Today we're doing Super Bowl predictions.
Let's get into it.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
The Chiefs. Chiefs by 100.
Chiefs aren't in it.
No, then I'm not watching.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question.
What's up?
Okay, what is your Super Bowl score prediction?
Oh man, 40-17.
Who do you have winning?
Seahawks all the way.
Great.
Let's go.
I agree.
What color do you think the Gatorade's going to be this year?
Ooh. Blue? Blue? I
like
who's
it.
playing?
Blue.
I'm still confident on my
I
blue.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
And who do you think is going to score first? Patriots, Seahawks?
Patriots.
Okay. Are you a Chiefs fan?
I'm from Colorado, so I'm a Broncos fan.
So this is tough for
Yeah.
us.
it's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for interviewing us.
Hi, wait, can I ask you something? Okay, who do you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, Patriots for sure. Patriots.
Okay.
I'm going to say Seahawks.
Yeah, why?
Just, it's different than what he said.
Okay, I like it. Thanks, guys.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Seahawks by 1 million.
By 1 million?
Yeah.
And what color do you think the Gatorade's going to be?
Orange. Last time they won it was orange.
Okay, I like that. I like it.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
Go Pats.
Okay. Who do you think is going to score first in the Super Bowl?
I hope the Patriots.
Why do you hope that?
Because I do not like the Seattle Seahawks.
Hey, okay.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I don't know who's playing.
Patriots or Seahawks, do you know?
Yeah, I am hoping the Seahawks.
Why the Seahawks over Patriots?
Because I don't like the Patriots.
Good answer. Thank you.
Who's going to win the Super Bowl this Sunday?
Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks.
Seahawks for sure. Let's go Seahawks.
Can I ask you a question? Who do you think is going to score first in the Super Bowl?
Oh, who's playing?
Patriots versus Seahawks.
Patriots.
Good answer.
Thanks.
Who do you have winning the Super Bowl on Sunday?
The Green Bay Packers.
Oh, right.
Can I ask you guys a quick question? Yeah. Who do you guys have winning the Super Bowl this weekend?
Patriots.
I agree, yeah.
me too.
What's your score prediction?
I think it's going to be 27-23.
Nice, thank you.
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I got the Seahawks.
By how many?
Shoot, I'll say 15. They're going to beat them by like 15 or more, for sure.
Who's going to score first?
Probably Walker, they running back.
Okay. What color do you think the Gatorade's going to be?
What color do I think the Gatorade going to be that they going to throw in their coach? Purple.
I like it. I like it. Thank you.
No problem.
Who do you guys have winning the Super Bowl on Sunday?
The Bears. Seahawks. The Seahawks. The Bears.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Dr. Naismith. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl this weekend? He actually said Rock Chalk Jayhawk, and tune in next week to watch more RunitBack.
That's all we have today for our Man on the Street.
We'll see you next time.
Not sure Mr. Naismith understood the question, but I guess we'll always take a rock chalk. That's going to conclude our episode. Check back in each week on Mondays at 2 if you want to see our more roundtables or Man on the Streets. If you miss us, you can always catch up on Media Crossroads on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time on Run It Back.